If he is extraterrestrial, where is his sister from? Where is Malachi now? Why can't God prove these things like in a dream to every one of us? Because written text is not proof. Is there a community near Central Michigan, USA? We get asked this question a lot in terms of the community near where you are, and we have to keep saying, go to the website, the official United Sabians Worldwide.com website, go to the about us, sorry, to the contact us, and you should see a list of locations. And if there isn't a location near you, then join our Telegram group, which is in the comments, and we can then, put you to the nearest community in your vicinity. Or maybe you can start a community near you if you really want to. We can guide you and work with you and help you do that. This question is, what are the scrolls I should read? We get asked this question a lot as well, because there are 1,000 scrolls pretty much to read, and it can be confusing for newcomers. So we put out Fast Track Your Spiritual and Conscious Guide, which gives you kind of a fast track to Wu-Sabat, so you can like know what Wu-Sabat is, know information that will help you, bring you up to speed, and then we recommend different books to answer this exact question, because we got asked so many times, what's the book I should read? Where should I start? And that's why we put that together. We've also put together an online course that covers the same content in the book, but it's more interactive and it's online, so you can pretty much start straight away. But you should really try to look at the titles of the books and see which one jumps at you, or which one you connect to, which one resonates with you, and start there. But in all, you should be studying the hereafter doctrine, known as the information since the year 2000, covering what we call the Partaruk, which is the way, which is a series of books covering many, many topics. The Actual Facts, which is also another series, and another series called the Master's Secrets. All those three are known as the Hereafter Doctrine. In addition to that, you have many, many, many scrolls that go back to the 60s that the Master Teacher Partner Babyanun put out. So yeah, it's easy to just read that first book and get a good kind of like orientation, and then you can start your journey there. Do you have an abandoned community in Trinidad and Tobago? Yes, we have. I don't know about abandoned, but we definitely have a community in Trinidad, and you can find the information on our website as well. Where's Malachi now? Malachi is incarcerated, and we are doing everything within our means and power to let the world know of the unlawful incarceration and kidnapping, and just basically let the world know about him. He's in Colorado, in Florence, okay, which is AdMax, the AdMax in Colorado, Florence. What is the Shabbat day? Again, the Shabbat is really what people call the Sabbath, and it's relating to religion. We are no longer in the school of religion, but those who still want to practice religion, that Sabbath comes from Saturday. That's what the real day is for Shabbat, for Saturday. But different people will practice it at different times. But remember, in the biblical sense, it was like the God created everything in 6 days and then rested on the seventh day, and that day was meant to be holy. And this is where the concept of the Sabbath day come from. And people celebrate on Sunday, which is the seventh day, but 6 is the Saturday. And so yeah, but we don't really subscribe to religion like that. So, but there are people still in religion. Now, everyone in religion really should be graduating into Wu-Sabat. You get much more clearer information and the right knowledge, right wisdom, and the right understanding with Wu-Sabat, which covers and addresses all the things in religion. All right, this is still the same video, how to reach Nibiru planets aligning and speaking to Yanun. Do you have any views on the pardon of Jamaican national hero Marcus Garvey by former President Biden? I find it curious that it wasn't done by Obama despite similar lobbying back then. Yeah, that's the funny thing. It's like a lot of people looked at Obama as being the first black president when he actually wasn't. But that meant that people had a lot of expectations of him, but he actually didn't do very much for black people when you look at, his record. And it is weird that Marcus has been gone for so long and it's now that, he's being pardoned. It's because we're in a day and time for truth, and, certain things have to be released, certain things have to be, kind of like finally come to light. Where injustices were being done, they're now going to be redone in terms of the truth has to come out. Yeah, I'm trying to remember which scroll goes into. If you read Set the Record Straight by Dr. Malachi Z. York, the master teacher, it's a scroll that will go into, the different presidents before Obama. Is there a community in Florida? If so, where? I've already answered that one. How do you protect yourself from evil spirit? This is from another video, Secrets of Jesus' Wife, Children, Life and Death Revealed. You protect yourself from, first of all, changing your energy and your vibration, because everything is energy. And what do they say? Like, if you're vibrating at a particular frequency that evil spirits cannot, they don't like, they're going to stay away from you. So first of all, change yourself, change your vibration, change your aura, and vibrate on a higher vibration, then they can affect you. There's more to it, but that obviously the changing of your vibration, you have to look at your company that you keep, the things that you eat, the diet, your thoughts, because all these things that you do will attract evil spirits to you. If you think evil, you're going to attract evil. If you do evil, you're going to attract evil. So first of all, look at yourself, change yourself, and, like I said, change the company you keep if it's something that brings you, evil. So, and then put these practices that will help you elevate and vibrate higher in terms of, things like meditation, positive thinking, etc. This is from How to Reach Nibiru. Again, that video has a lot of questions. This episode 7 of Throwback. Okay, this is us. That's always some vision. Just reminding you that, yeah, we sometimes go back and, throw back some stuff. Is Earth the only physical planet in the universe? Also, can you travel intergalactic with your physical body? The first part is no. The second part is yes. So, Earth is not the only physical planet. What it is in our solar system, you get people giving you different amounts of planets. So people will say there are 9 planets, right? This is why the master teacher put out a scroll called Behind the 9th Ball. The 9th ball meaning behind the sun. But anyway, some people will tell you there are 9 planets, but then people will tell you about a planet called Planet X, and X stands for 10 in Roman numerals. And so they will say there are 10 planets because Planet X was a planet that was once in our solar system, which people refer to as Meldet, because it was knocked off its orbit, but it still comes around every now and again. And some people refer to that as Nibiru as well, or they mix up Nibiru with that planet. And then, of course, the planet Titan, which many people didn't believe was a planet at first. So now you have really 9, 10, or 11, depending on who you are. So yes, Earth is not the only physical planet. This is why even now you have people like Elon Musk and even Trump this week talking about going to Mars. So they know that that's another planet. All right. And when you say the universe, no, the universe is vast. Our universe is massive. So you're talking about different solar systems and different galaxies even within our universe. So it's not the only planet. Can you travel intergalactically with your physical body? Yes, you can, depending on how you travel. If you're traveling in a craft, you need to take things. This is where the, what you call atomic gold or math cosette in our language is something that you take when you're traveling at the speed of light, because you don't want the G-force to basically decompose your body. So you have to be in a particular craft in a particular way, and you have to be prepared to travel intergalactically because you're traveling at the speed of light. So you can leave your body and travel, which is not taking the physical body with you. The only other way as well is using teleportation, where you can, they showed you this on Star Trek, where you can basically decompose yourself in terms of the atoms, but that is also very difficult if you don't have the technology, because you have to break down your zero time reference, and then it's kind of like, because everything is energy, you can break down the energy that you're held together by in terms of the different atoms, and then transport them somewhere and recompose them. That's how you can do it. But teleportation is not something that is very well known to everyone at the moment. It's angels, angles. Yeah, phonetically, in terms of the language, because words in English are coming from words before. This is from the video Tahuti gave Moses the commandments. And yes, that's actually a really good question, because when you start to study about masonry, for example, and most religions today, most of the monotheistic religions were found by Masons, and most people don't know this. So, for example, if you look at like the Jehovah's Witness, you had Charles Russell and you had Rutherford, Joseph Rutherford. They were both Masons. You go to even Joseph Smith of the Mormons, he was a Mason. Most people don't take the time to really do this research. So when you study Masonry, you understand how angles are important in terms of, you know what I mean? Like, as a Mason, you build a Mason or somebody that worked with bricks for building. So when the pyramids, for example, were being built, they had to be built precisely using mathematics and using, you know, right angles, squares, and perpendiculars. And why that's important as it relates to angels is because you're told the person that is responsible for that is known as the grand architect of the universe. And an architect works by precision and drawing. Okay, so yeah, angels relates to that, because these angels come from the grand architect of the universe, okay, who some refer to as God. Okay, how I get them books. How do I get them books? Be prepared for this year. That's from the video, be prepared for this year. How do I get the books? I mean, it depends on the book. Some books are out of print. Some books are so scarce to get hold of right now. So you may have to look on Amazon and look at people selling their copies if they've got more than one, but mainly from the bookstores. So go to the United Sabians Worldwide.com website, look at the different locations and the different stores, and then order online if you can, if it's available. Secrets of Jesus, Wife, Children, Life, and Death Revealed. That's another video. Jesus, please provide yourself to me in a dream, because there is so much confusion. That's a bit of a weird one. Please provide yourself to me in a dream, because there is so much confusion. Don't get that. If there's confusion, you need to study and research and look at the evidence and try and make sense of everything, because don't look at just one source of information. compare it with other teachings and other people. Why can't God prove these things like in a dream to every one of us? Because written text is not proof. That's funny. That type of question always makes me laugh, because you only know of God through books. So when you're saying because written text is not proof enough, then that means we might as well get rid of all those books. And that's what we're saying, that books come from things that have been excavated in terms of ancient tablets and ancient writings on the walls, ancient stories passed down from generation to generation. And that's the question. If you say, why can't God prove these things? Then you're accepting God exists. And if you accept that God exists, then you have to give me or find out where's the reference. Where did you even first come across that word God? Because when you say, why can't God prove these things exist? First thing is you have to prove that God exists. So, and you say like in a dream to everyone. Everyone won't have the same, everyone's not sleeping at the same time, for starters. So how is everyone going to dream at the same time to get the same dream? People have different dreams at different times. And you say written text is not proof, then how do you prove anything other than people's experiences? But proof is there to give you the information. What should I believe now? So much confusion. Don't believe. That's the point. Belief is what gives you the confusion. So we're telling you not to believe. This is Hans Mid Dam 8894. We're saying belief is what causes confusion, because belief is based on lies. As you can see, the word believe has the lie in the middle of it. And the confusion comes because you don't have actual facts. So we're saying know instead of believing. Get the facts so that you can know. All right. How do I get some of those pamphlets behind your... Okay, that's from the bookstore. We've already mentioned that. Okay, that's a question we already covered before. Who's the lady and child holding the spears? I don't know who you're referring to. If it's the lady and child, are you referring to the Black Madonna? But I don't know about the spears. This is from a live. So, like, ask us anything. Who's the lady holding the spears? You have to be more clear with your question, because I don't know what you're referring to. Let's keep going. Africans know who they are. All the other races know who they are. And all the other races know who we are. But we don't know who we are. How is that of not all races sticking together to keep us lost? So the world has always been together. The Israelites just aren't invited. But we goog because God wants us the true Jews. That's from the video, Who Do I Pray To? Why doesn't God answer me? Well, that's kind of a bit contradictory, because the first part you said Africans know who they are, and then you say at the end we don't know who we are. So there's no real question, but this is why we're here. Wu-Sabat is here to set the record straight, to let you know about the different people, different religions, and mostly about facts that everyone can tune into. It doesn't matter what background you're coming from. Know who you are. Does anyone know what the symbol on his hat means? Like the teacher, so much that I would like to learn more from the master teacher. Oh, the symbol, you're talking about the Ankh Tui. It's called an Ankh Tui. Tui in our language means two, because some people look at it and go, oh, that's the double cross. No, it's not a cross, and it's not an Ankh, because there are two Ankhs. So it's Ankh Tui, and it represents many things. It represents the double resurrection. It represents the hereafter doctrine, and it represents who we are in this day and time. If you want to find out more, turn up on the Ask Us Anything live and ask your questions. It's representing those who are being awoke in this day and time. Let's keep going. York was not the first to talk about these. Okay, that's the same question we covered before. Why is it so difficult to get off this planet? The afterlife seems very stressful and chaotic. Difficult for some, not so difficult for others. And this planet is actually, for lack of a better word, a prison. Beings are quarantined here so that they can learn what we call divine love. And to master divine love and master the physical world, you need to learn how to treat people, how to be mindful, caring, loving, sharing, and change your negative aura, negative energy, so that you can leave here. And the afterlife seems very stressful and chaotic based on religion, in terms of the religious concept, because they don't really teach you about what happens in the afterlife. We have a scroll called A Spiritual You After the Physical You Dies that goes into great detail of what the afterlife is like. And people might say, how do you know this? Because we have a teacher, the master teacher, who has mastered both the physical and the unseen world, or the different realms, that he teaches us about these things. Wouldn't be surprised if science didn't have something to do with it. Lucretius, I don't know what that. I'm busy weighing my feather. You can weigh me before I die later. Yeah, I think that's relating to the ma'at feather, when you're being weighed to see if your deeds were, if you had good deeds, or if you were selfish, disagreeable, with the 9 mental diseases, ego, basically, I think that's what you're relating to, but there isn't a full question. Why do they all go against Israel? I'm talking about true Jews. Answer, please. This is the problem. The word Jew, when you're using the word Jew, we'll go in mind before we get flagged up, but there are different types of Jews. And, you have the Sephardim, Ashkenazim, and you have those children of Canaan known as the Jebusites. So everyone doesn't think or look at the different people that are calling themselves Jews and Israelites, etc., because really we in Wu-Sabat, we deal with one family who are all equal in terms of, when you take away religions, then you don't have the divisions and the fighting against each other for land and for territory, so yeah. You have to know who you're calling. This is the thing about religion. You have to know who is real and who is fake. Let me keep going. Okay, this is another one. Anunnaki revealed ultimate in-depth breakdown. In this lecture, during the breakdown, the narrator speaks of Egyptian. Why is he using a European term for an African one? Just asking. The Greeks did not even exist during the time period. Yeah, it's just like, you use a term that people are familiar with, but even when people use terms like Kemet and other names, Kush, there are so many names that refer to the land of Egypt, but it depends how far back you're going. So the point is just so that people know what we're talking about. You're right, the word Egypt or Egyptos comes from the Greek describing burnt faces, or people that got burnt because they had a lack of melanin, and so they were referred to as Egyptos, or burnt faces. So you're right, but we just use terms, even like you said term for an African one. Africa as well, it's not really the real name, and that was coined again by, Afrikaners from Africa, Africa, farqa, which was about dividing, and that's what the Arabs with the slave kidnapping called slave trade did. Okay, Zamal, this is a question. Yeah, people, a question is when you have one sentence and you have a question mark at the end of it. Makes it easy for us to know, okay, this is a question. So Audrey Lee 1076, that's a good example of how to ask a question. Zamal, which means brother, what do you call the hair plait behind your head? So she's talking about this, right? We call this the mijal, okay? And it's people loosely say braid, but in our language it's called a mijal. And you can find a breakdown of that in the scroll called the Gospel of Yanon on the Sacred Feminine, which ties into why we have it. It relates to the medulla oblongata, which deals with, if you look at how you start off in life as a sperm, you have a tail and a head, right? And that sperm, once it's actually in union with the ovum, with the woman in her womb, and she grows you as the goddess creator, and then you grow and come out, your spinal column, when you start to come upright, your spinal column goes to your brain. That development from a sperm, the head is where the brain is, which is your brain, right? And then you have your spinal column, which is in connection and interaction with your brain, because messages are sent from your different networks, like your nervous system, your skeletal system, your muscular system, etc. All goes to the brain. So this is symbolic of, that when you look at the stem of the brain, and you look at a brain, you look at the shape of a brain, at the back you have that stem, and it relates to why we have the Majal. So great question. Very simple, one sentence, very clear. Okay, now here's another example. I don't know if this is a statement, but let's have a look. The man talking, how old is he to what was left out when the Bible was written? Even if some are left out, the little that's available you don't even believe in yet you are talking about what's missing. All secrets belong to God. What's required of us is to get saved through Jesus. John 10:36. The Bible has warned us about vain teachings and never to get deceived. The Antichrist will use the same Bible to take you. This is what we're saying. This is like someone just preaching, and I'm trying to see, okay, there's no more, right? They want to push their narrative, and then when we start to question, we are not saying, just because you weren't around doesn't mean that you can't research and find things that we're not the only ones. Scholars of Christians, because you sound like a Christian because you keep talking about being saved by Jesus, the scholars in the Christendom, they tell you about the missing books, many books missing. So you have people that are all like they're experts in the field, and you just said what is required is to get saved through Jesus, where you can't even prove Jesus existed, you see, and you're quoting the Bible and you're quoting John, and that's the translation in English, and you're telling us to listen and follow what it says in that book blindly, because you're mixing things up, because Christ and Christian are two different things. People try and say to be a Christian is to be Christ-like, but then when you study what it says about Christ and what the word Christ means, which is anoint, to be anointed, which comes from the word in ancient Egypt, karast, that's two different things. When you add the tian, Christian, at the end of it, you look at the word backwards, you're getting antichrist. So you're actually saying Christians are the antichrist, because like people don't realize that to be Christ-like or have a Christ consciousness doesn't necessarily mean that you are a Christian, because what's happened is that word Christian was made up. Yeah, so even Jesus, you say here, when trying to make Jesus fall, but the truth in the Bible, Jesus overcame him. Again, Jesus, what? Which one? There's different Jesuses in the Bible. Jesus, that's two Greek and a Roman and Greek god, Jah and Zeus, put together to make up the word Jesus. And in the language it's Yeshua, or Savior, which can be applied to anybody as well, not just that one person. So anyone who saves you is known as a Savior. Yeah. So again, sound like this is from Secrets of Jesus, Wife, Children, Life and Death Revealed. So Zoa 1108, do some research. And then Wesley Dyer, again, this is a good example of a question. Why are you supporting Egyptian pagan symbols? Who says they're pagan, and which symbols are you even calling Egyptian? Because these are not even Egyptian symbols. Egypt is just a time period where, Europeans called it Egypt, but these are not Egyptian symbols. This is Mosbatu symbols of Wu-Sabat. So again, I don't know which symbols he's referring to, but if you're referring to these symbols, that's not an Egyptian symbol. This is from the Anunnaki, the fallen angels the Bible speaks of. To the caller, you're wrong. You're not thinking properly. Why are you asking past tense questions and expecting present answer for past tense? Questions, it doesn't work like that. From what I see, you still asleep. I need to be awake and you confusing. All right, I think someone is talking to somebody that called in. Okay, no question there. I just asked myself how many prophets this planet can have. Well, when you're dealing with prophets, you're talking about people that deal with prophecy. And the scriptures, there were specific prophets that received scriptures. And there are different types of prophets. There's, in the Arabic, you say a Rasul, which is once sent, and you will have an apostle. So people mix up the words again, because you not every prophet received a scripture. And in the books that they received is what people look up to them as. So they will say Moses, for example, they say he received the Torah, and David received the Psalms, and Muhammad received the Quran, and the book of Revelation is Jesus's book. So depending on what you're calling, some people are prophets by way of that they actually came and they received a book of what they would say is prophecy. But we know that when you say prophecy, the weathermen are prophets, because they tell you what the weather's going to be tomorrow, right? If you watch the news, they're going to tell you tomorrow is going to rain, da-da-da-da-da. How are they able to do that? So a prophet is not really, always someone that has come with a scripture, but someone who can prophesize, like Parnabab Yanun, Dr. Malachi Ziyot. He predicts things all the time. That's a prediction. You can predict what the weather's going to be like tomorrow. Just ask Siri and ask. So we're living in a day and time that what people used to call, miracles and things like that are basically not that deep. It's just that these beings were ahead of you in terms of their knowledge and technology. I don't get that question. Where do the glands they are putting in come from? Grown glands, saved glands. I don't know if that's referring to you're talking about from the video exposing aliens amongst us. The barythry gland we're talking about. Yeah, the barythry gland is from the extraterrestrials. They are actually the high beings. They know how to replace the gland that was removed. And that's been put in the hippocampus region of the brain. And they're the ones that are putting it back in. It's like an operation, a surgical operation to replace. Okay, look, even now, right, today, 2025, you have a company called Neuralink by the, once again, Elon Musk, who has worked out how to put chips into specific parts of the brain to help people, they say, in terms of like soldiers who go and, you know, they lose their limbs and now they can get a replacement, they can get a chip put in a specific part of your brain to help you be able to walk, use your hands, etc., etc. So it's the same way these glands are being reactivated by an operation, but they're just using advanced technology to the point where they don't need to put artificial things in you like that, so they can actually harm you or control you from wherever you are. Okay, so I hope that's answered that question. That's one of the best questions so far. So they will take you to a place if you are one of the chosen to receive your barotheric gland back, and they will reinsert it and do an operation. Put you to sleep, just like when you go into surgery in a hospital here. They put you to sleep, operate on your brain. If it's to do with your brain, they'll cut up your brain. But these extraterrestrial are so advanced, they don't need to cut you up because they use light and sound to go into through your pores without having to cut you up. Oh, okay. If he is extraterrestrial, where is his sister from? Or how is she his sister at all? Just curious for an actual answer, no sarcasm. All right, cool. That's from Exposing Aliens Amongst Us. Good question, Saya son. It's good when people are respectful and they just ask a question. It doesn't matter how crazy it is, but at least you want to know, right? Right. Again, we've broken down. Go back and watch on OSM Vision, God, the Universe, Numbers Explained, where we explain what an extraterrestrial is. All beings that are not from here are extraterrestrials, but specific people or certain people are chosen and given special powers that makes them different from everyone else. So when we say he's an extraterrestrial, he's got his full barotheric gland and he was chosen and selected to come and do this job. And, you know, and we're talking about the being that has fully taken control of his being, known as Yanun, not the body, the physical body known as Malachi York, who was born from a mother and father. That's why he has a sister. And the sister is also born from a mother and father, just like we are. So people have to differentiate the extraterrestrial part of you, which is dealing with like your soul, or your other parts that don't deal with your physical body. So yeah, you can have a family and be a special being, like we've spoken about the golden children, or, you know, certain beings like that extraterrestrials came to and gave them the ability or special powers to be able to do things. Every single person was visited by an extraterrestrial when you go back and read the Bible, the Quran, etc. So the angel Gabriel visited Muhammad, and you go back and you see that Jesus was born from an angel known as Gabriel, etc., etc. So you have to understand what we mean by extraterrestrial. Okay, I think, yeah, we've covered a lot of questions from this video. So we're going to round off now. Remember, you can ask your questions in the comment section on this video, and we will also address those for you. All right, so until next time, Wadu.